Greetings. Welcome to Heart Fireside Chat this evening. Anthony from the Children's Fire and the Imaginal Collective. And I would say that Anthony is a bit of a visionary and a shamanic practitioner. And so we are going to be having a little talk about Anthony's vision about the Children's Fire and what it entails, and in moving forwards together in our communities and our connection with each other in reverence for all of life. So thank you for joining me this evening, Anthony.
Hey Linda, thank you for having me on this channel. I really appreciate this opportunity to talk about the Children's Fire. So thank you.
So can you please tell everyone, what is the Children's Fire?
Okay, well, Children's Fire it's both a profound symbol and a pledge to our future generations, and it represents the continuation of life. In a wisdom tradition carried by Central American indigenous people, they used to have a wisdom council for surfacing wisdom based on questions that people would bring to the council. But in the center of the wheel was a fire that they called the Children's Fire, which reminded the chiefs who gathered around the wheel that no law should be passed that will harm the children. So it was really a pledge and a dedication to the continuation of life, not just human children, but all creatures, all forms of life.
Oh, that is beautiful. When you first told me about it, I really, really resonated with all that you shared about it. And where did it originate from?
Central America.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of a tradition in Central America, yeah. Which actually, because during the Mayan times, there was a lot of upheaval and a lot of migrations that occurred. So much of the teachings were carried north up into North America, all the way up into Canada, actually.
And was there anyone else in the Western world that brought this idea forth?
The Children's Fire, yeah. I mean, there's someone called Tim McCartney, Mac McCartney, who actually inspired me. I watched a video of him talking about the Children's Fire at Chi Global, and I think I'd just seen some harrowing scene on children in need. The children, working on big mounds of plastic, seeking out scraps to earn a living, and yeah, this strange happening actually, where I was in the middle of a thunderstorm and the power went out, and I'd saved this video. I hadn't watched it yet, of Tim McCartney talking about the Children's Fire, and everything went off. I was in darkness and I had my headphones on, and this video started playing, just the audio, really bizarre, which made it even more profound. Yeah, and so, and Tim McCartney is a very passionate speaker, a great speaker.
Wow.
And yeah, and so that, and I have studied, we've both studied a very similar tradition, and that inspired me to really want to move the Children's Fire forward. And like you say, it's a very accessible statement, and a no-brainer. I mean, I used to share it at festivals, and I never had anyone have a problem with that. Of course we want to care for our children and our future generations.
Yeah, absolutely. So important. I mean, we're creating the future right now in the present moment, and it's such an important concept, and it's such a loving concept first and foremost. And I love that message. I also do like Mac, as he's called, as I did visit his community here in North Devon, Embercombe, I think it's called, and I was really impressed with what they do there. It's you know, I really think he walks his talk.
Mm.
And I've started to read his book actually, about his journey across the UK. And I think this is the concept that he started to put out there. So this was around what, 2009, 2010. But so when did you start the website?
Well, I think it was back in 2012 actually that I launched the Children's Fire movement as a result of becoming inspired to take it out into the world. And it was at a time where I'd been doing several years of youth work in the kind of burbs of London. And so I'd be commuting up from Cornwall up to London. And it struck me how, because really for me, what the Children's Fire is addressing on one level is the separation that has taken root in our societies. And nowhere was it more evident than during that youth work. I mean, we'd go out and do activities out in nature, like shelter building or assault courses, and the young people were afraid of nature. It was like this thing that was going to, you know, corrupt them in some way, filthy their Armani jeans, or swallow up their iPhones, or, you know, infect them in some way. So a real disconnect. So, you know, we can't expect the youth of today to care for future generations if they're not connected with and valuing the natural world that's around them. And I think it's a lesson for all of us. But, you know, we're all suffering the separation on some level, and the disconnect begins within the self. And it's a challenge, as people know, you know, to do this. It's a life work to bring healing to this separation. And this is why I feel communities are so important, to do this in association with others, to support one another, and to bring this beautiful concept of the Children's Fire into community as well.
Beautiful. So the aim is for communities to come together and light a fire. Is that right?
Yeah, you don't have to be in a community. You could just be on your own, lighting a candle in your house or on the dinner table. It's really about intention and starting to become more mindful and aware of future generational thinking. But yeah, so it could be a fire, a candle at home, or it could be a bonfire in public. It could be if you know someone or run ceremonies yourself for the winter solstice, which is what we're publicizing this event for. Then you can incorporate it into that, because it's such a simple and yet profound concept. It can easily be incorporated into any ceremony, really. Yeah.
Awesome. I do love the symbol of the fire, because for me, fire represents the heart, and, you know, the hearth, and really the hearth represents, you know, the heart of the home. And, you know, it's all to do with our family and also transformation. I think fire really means transformation. And also within Chinese medicine tradition, the fire element is, you know, part of the heart, really. So, yeah, it's a very powerful force, but I really feel how representative it is of change, because we need to be the change now, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. I love that image of the hearth and the heart, and fire is this magical, magnetic entity that brings people together and draws you to it. Anyone who's sat near a fire or a candle, it's mesmerizing, and it really, you know, on that level, it's counteracting this sense of separation. It's bringing together, this is why a bonfire is a beautiful thing for a community. It brings people together. And yes, you're right. Be the change. you know, the change does begin with the self, and in fact the self is the only thing we can change, really. And then people just feel that energy, that change, that shift. And it is about now. It's about creating the change now, and that's what ripples out into the future. Yeah. You mentioned the Imaginal Collective as well. That's the organization. Really, I'm a web developer. This is a unique opportunity for me to be on the other side of the screen. So a bit uncomfortable as well. It's good. It's good.
So what does the Imaginal Collective represent for you? I mean, what does it? So you're using this website, Imaginal Collective, as I think you call it the portal, which is, I really like that, because the portal represents to me, it's like a doorway or a light, you know, it's like a guiding light, it feels like. So portals can be very powerful and potent symbols as well. And so when I had a look at your website, I was really impressed with the global map that you have on there, because it really feels like, you know, we are really a global family. You know, we were all these lights all around the world, and we're opening up our hearts. We're changing our consciousness as much as we can with this awakening light that's flowing through all of us and through the planet. So that really rung true for me when I saw that on you know, this global map, and now that you're bringing forth this children's fire as well. So both of them, I think, really resonate and work together.
Well,
so please tell us, about
sorry.
it.
Yeah, it's interesting how the tagline, or the vision, I shouldn't call it tagline, but the vision statement is very similar to the children's fire and being the change for our future generations. The tagline is, vision statement is, creating a brighter future today for all the children's tomorrow. So there's already that synergy there. And you mentioned the map. The original vision for the Imaginal Collective, because it's a group of us, and we've set the organization up with a council wheel at the heart of it for decision making and wisdom gathering. And yes, it was the vision of Richard Good, the founder of the Imaginal Collective, to have a global map where all of the change makers, those who want to create a brighter future, can see one another on the map and inspire one another and encourage one another and ultimately collaborate together. So that was the key impetus from that direction. And sort of parallel to that, I've been beavering away over the last few years, creating different web projects to help people, support people in collaborating and coming together as groups. And so it's gradually just merged. And so this recent manifestation, the portal that you mentioned, is and I shouldn't really draw this parallel, but it's like an ethical Facebook. So it's a social network, and it's divided into networks. Instead of groups, you've got networks. And the difference with this is that it's one global network of many networks. So you can still have private, public, and stages in between networks, but they're all part of the one global network. So when you become a member, say, for example, of the Children's Fire movement network that's on there, you're automatically a member of the whole thing, the whole platform. And it feels really important because I mentioned separation earlier, and even the change makers and the groups and communities that are emerging, and there are many that are emerging at the moment around the world, very often they create their own network in isolation on a piece of software or on a website. And that's great, and I can understand why people do that. And I think it's really beneficial for all of these groups to be able to talk to one another, which is what we're trying to provide on this platform. Yeah, so you can post content on there like you can on other social networks. You can connect with other members on there. You can have a profile. Um, and also the other difference with it, like you say, is the map. You can visualize all the members and events on the map. And what we'd love to do with the Children's Fire events is for people to set up their event using the Children's Fire logo, which we can provide, and to be able to see all the events appearing across the globe on the map.
Amazing.
Again, as you know, a form of inspiration and encouragement, and a demonstration of our agreement with caring for future generations and life. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, because I have been seeing how, you know, there are many people isolated, and it feels like a lovely coming together of people, you know. And even if you just want to find a community or get to know another network, I think the more of us that come together in numbers, the better, really, for support and to share our resources and, you know, a whole wide range of amazing things that we can achieve together. But we have to come together to start with, don't we?
Yeah, yeah. And also, just to add, it's a place where your freedom of speech won't be curtailed in any way. But we
Yes.
won't go down that rabbit hole.
Uncensored.
There's
Yes.
no, yeah. I mean, the flip side of us trying to be as ethical as we can is that we don't make money from advertising. We don't sell people's data. We don't do anything underhand like that or share anything. So we do need to charge a subscription fee, which is really kind of donation model. For these Children's Fire events, we've put a minimum donation of £3, which, you know, you get a year's subscription as well as being able to be for the platform, as well as being able to put your event on. And that's just the price of a coffee, you know, good coffee. So we think that's, you know, we've been trying to work out how to create a fair model that's open, that doesn't exclude anybody, but at the same time values what we're doing, because we've basically self-funded. We've poured thousands into this platform, and so, you know, it's a way of honoring what's been created and at the same time not excluding anybody, because I can speak for myself that I wouldn't have been able to do the wisdom trainings that I did, the Indigenous teachings over in New Mexico, if I hadn't been supported and given a scholarship, which, you know, I deeply appreciate. So yeah, don't want to exclude anybody.
Yes. Lovely. And are you looking for any more potential investors then, just to get, you know, more of this project off the ground?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm sure there must be someone out there who resonates with what we're doing, and that would be fantastic. Yeah, because there's always more to do, and as well as all the maintenance and everything. But yeah, lots of ideas. There's never a shortage of ideas. Shall I tell you a bit about how people can
Yes,
get
please.
involved
Yes.
with the event? So the event is on the 21st of December for the winter solstice, and you know, we can give you suggestions if you'd like ideas of what to do on the day, but we don't want to be prescriptive. Like I say, you just light a candle or a bonfire, and all the information is on a web page, which we're going to add a link under this
We
video.
will, yes.
And that will be on the Imaginal Collective page for the Children's Fires. Yeah, so all we need to do is fill in an event registration form, and that includes a little basic information about yourself, so we can set up a profile for you. The event information, it's all the fields that you need to fill in are on the form, and then we'll set it all up for you and send you links when it's done and what the, you know, next steps. Yeah, so we've tried to make it as simple as possible.
That's great. That's great. Great. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
It's probably something. um, no, I don't think so. I mean, this isn't going to be. It's not just a unique event. We're going to roll these out throughout the year potentially.
Okay, so we can do it once a month then.
Yeah, whenever really. I mean, you know, this is a practice really, a reconditioning of how we think, how we structure our minds regarding future generational thinking. So, because this is related to a sacred law. No law should be passed that will harm the children, and this is something we can be holding before we think, speak, and act.
Yes.
So, and what I admire about the work that Tim's been doing is he's been taking it into businesses and organizations, and that's where it needs to be.
Gosh, absolutely. Let's do it.
And if Tim's watching, I'm looking forward to actually meeting you soon.
Yes.
That's definitely on my list to do.
Okay, let's send it out there to the universe.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just take a breath into our hearts, sending out love, feeling our reverence and interconnectedness of all life. So thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much. Really appreciate this. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. Love to everybody.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye.